The residents of Mandur are continuing their protest for a fourth straight day. They have refused to allow any trucks to enter the landfill. The protesters have locked the gate of one of the landfills. The situation is getting tense as the police have imposed Section 144 at Mandur. It has come into effect from 6 p.m. yesterday and will continue for the next 3 days. Hundreds of protesters have been arrested. For more on the story, I'm joined by my colleague Nishtita. Nishita, what are the latest updates?
Well, we understand that the SP of Bangalore Rural has spoken on the matter. He has gone on to state that since last evening, Section 144 had been imposed, but the villagers had not relented. The Tehsildar had ordered for Section 144 to be imposed in the area, but despite that, protests were held, and that's the reason why close to 40 protesters have been taken into custody, and the rest have been dispersed from the location. As of now, there is no protest going on, is what we understand, but truly pitiable, Varghese. This was a peaceful protest. These protesters are agitating to save their own homes. Their water is polluted, their soil is polluted, their air is polluted, and that is what they're protesting to save. But imposing Section 144 when the protest wasn't even violent, when the protesters were just making a point by sitting in front of the landfill. They said that they will not allow any of the trucks to pass by. The officials now using force practically to move these protesters. Almost it is like curtailing their freedom of speech and curtailing their freedom of living in a clean and serene environment, which is one of the provisions in the Constitution. But the SP now has spoken up and has said that if any more protesters come to the fore, they too will be taken into custody. For now, 40 of them have been detained, and the area has been cleared as of now, so the trucks can move from which are coming in from Bengaluru to dump the garbage, and probably the protest has been quelled as of now. But has the Tehsildar done something worse by doing so, by stopping a peaceful protest and by imposing Section 144? Will they be angering these villagers even more? Is something that we have to wait and watch now, Varghese.
This also will, in fact, Nishita, put the negotiations that are going on with the villagers into a tough spot, because most of the villagers are saying this is a high-handed method and this is not the way to go forward.
Absolutely. Well, in fact, negotiations anyways weren't going anywhere because the villagers were unwilling to relent. In the past also negotiations have happened. The villagers have given them nearly 2 years' time by giving them one margin period after another. But the government, or for that matter the BBMP, has not made any real effort in tackling the issue except for convincing the villagers to give them a margin time frame. Even the Bengaluru in charge minister yesterday spoke out and said that Bengaluru has no other option but to dump the garbage in Mandur at this point in time because there is no alternate arrangement. But in response, the protesters, the villagers, questioned that if Bengaluru is generating garbage, why should Mandur suffer? Why can't Bengaluru itself suffer? Probably then there will be some sense that will get into the minds of the people as well as the administrators who are taking this decision of polluting a series of close to 7-8 villages in and around Mandur. So these were some tough questions that were posed to the government, but after almost helplessness being expressed by Ramlinga Reddy and the mayor, it seems like now they have resorted to force by forcefully moving the protest away. It is almost an atrocious act, considering that the protesters were just doing a peaceful agitation. There was nothing. There was no violence that was reported. They were just peacefully sitting in front of the gate of the landfill to agitate against their homes being polluted, their villages being made living hells. So keeping all this in mind, it seems sort of unfair for the government to even impose Section 144 and forcefully vacate these protesters when they were not violent in the first place. But it seems like the government, after pleading with them, after trying to negotiate with them, finding no way out, has finally resorted to force. But is this the best thing to do? It seems unlikely, Varghese.
Well, Nishita, if you look at it, this is the third garbage crisis in the last 2 years, and still we do not have an alternative, and every time we harp on Mandur, it's looked like we are sleeping on a time bomb.
Well, absolutely. We have seen in the, if we just go back sometime, Varghese, in October 2012, we saw the entire streets of Bengaluru practically being flooded with garbage. We saw garbage all over the streets of Bengaluru. It had even created international headlines. So you can imagine the kind of embarrassment that the government faced. back then it was the BJP government. The BJP government was voted out of power. The Congress government has come in, but is there any change? Well, certainly there doesn't seem to be any change. There was no effort to encourage a segregation of garbage at source. There was no awareness that was created amongst the people. There was no compulsion. There was no imposing of any sort of rules. The garbage was just blindly picked up from each house and taken to Mandur. As per rules, as we have told this time and again, as per rules, only 15% of the garbage is supposed to go to the landfill, which includes probably animal carcasses and your dust, and the very basic garbage, which is termed as almost zero garbage, is supposed to go to the landfill. The rest is supposed to be composted or recycled or reused. But as opposed to the rules in place, 95% of the garbage, of the 4,000 tons of garbage which is generated in Bengaluru on a regular basis, is going to these landfills. And that is the reason why they are not even living up to the kind of time period that they were designed for. The people there are struggling because the water that comes to them is absolutely polluted. The air is polluted. There is an unbearable stench. The officials who went in there for inspection couldn't even stand a few moments. So how are they expecting people to live there? So they're not even coming up with solutions. They're not even assuring them that, okay, if you give us this time frame, we will ensure that by then the segregation happens and there are plants in place. There are no concrete assurances also coming. They're merely procrastinating the entire process and are just asking for a few more months' time. It is almost like a baseless argument that is being put forth by the government. There is no real solution being provided to these people. They're not really showing these protesters what their plan is in the next 8 months, that the solution, that this entire issue will be solved. So there is no reason for these protesters to really believe the officials they have in the past.
Nishchita, we have Ravi Krishna Reddy from AAP, in fact, joining us. He's been one of the protesters with the people in Mandur. Ravi Krishna Reddy, Section 144 has been imposed. Don't you think it is quite draconian with regards to the issue?
It is highly undemocratic and dictatorial. Just now I heard your other anchor speaking. She summed it up very well. There is no proper solution from the government, and it is not giving any measures that the people of Mandur can believe in. So this is highly undemocratic. This morning also around 150 people have been arrested. Myself, I'm already H.S. Doreswamy. He's leaving to Mandur now. I will also be joining him very soon. So this is the government, instead of taking the people of Mandur into confidence and making some measures to so that the Mandur people can believe in them. This government is resorting to a dictatorial attitude, and this is highly condemnable. This is not the way to treat the people of Mandur, who have sacrificed their lives and for these thugs. This is the political for these politicians and BBMP. It is not the people whom they are responsible to. It is the garbage mafia that they are responsible to, and they are reporting to the garbage mafia. So they are not working for the people. They are working for this garbage mafia, and this is what the government has come to in Karnataka. Siddaramaiah is become highly undemocratic, and he is even Ramlinga Reddy. Is whatever that he is doing is highly condemnable. This is not the way to treat the people of Mandur, and the people of Bangalore are going to be in support of Mandur very soon. Because of these thugs, I could say these corporators, MLAs, a lot of people are involved. BBMP officials are involved in this camp. They are trying to make more money. They're trying to what you call the fishing in the troubled waters. That's what they're trying to do. They are not there for the last 1.5 years. They slept on the wheel, and now they're asking for another 6 months or 8 months because this mayor, he is a very smart guy. He's a very intelligent man. His term anyway ends in another 3-4 months. And even after 6 months, he's not going to be the mayor. So that's why he's asking for this 6 months. Ramlinga Reddy is not as smart as he is also smart, but he's not as smart as this mayor. So Ramlinga Reddy should have asked for 4 years. By the time the current Congress government would have ended. So this, instead of asking for 4 years, he nodded with the mayor for another 8 months, because by that time this mayor is not going to be there. People of Mandur understand all these things. So, and the people of Bangalore also understand. People of Bangalore are ready to segregate, and they are paying for all these things. And instead of going for scientific segregation and providing a solution and not making the life of Mandur people hell, this is highly objectionable. Arresting these people is not the way to treat them.